Hello, Rachel here. Welcome back to Rachel's Basic Bites community, where I empower you through mind, body, and spirit. And here is Tuesday's thought of the day in Chapter 1. We are reading from Chapter 1 in Straightline Leadership. What's your inner stance? You can think positively all you want. If your inner stance is weak, nothing good happens. Therefore, the most effective thing that you can possibly do is to first distinguish your inner stance. What position are you taking? Where are you coming from? How are you actually operating in life? And given where you're coming from, how do you now see life? Most people have no idea that there is a way that they see things. They think that how they see things is just the way it is. But if they stood in a different place, they would see things differently. And how they see things could open exciting new possibilities for successful actions. Therefore, sitting down and figure out where you want to go is not the most important first step in getting results. It's a great second step, though. In fact, it's critical in the long run. You certainly can't hit a target that you don't have in front of you, and yet there is still something much more basic to living a life with velocity and power. It's something that runs much deeper. In working with a straight line coach, he will first want to establish something more primary, something much more crucial to your success. He will want to know where you're coming from. He will want to know that because he'll want to know what's possible for you to see. It's not where you want to go, but where you come from that most where you come from that most determines your success and results in life. While it's true that where you want to go provides direction in life, where you come from is like adding rocket fuel to the process. Where you come from is the foundation of where you want to go. So, the position you operate from in life is what ultimately has you be who you are. By who you are, I mean how you exist, how you live, how you function in life, the things you do and don't do, the things you say and the things you don't say. How are you experienced by others as well as yourself? I call this operating position your inner stance. So, your inner stance is the position or mental posture you create to live your life from. It is how you choose to live your life, exist, or be in regards to yourself, others, challenges, or life in general. In other words, it becomes how you operate in life. When people say he's this way or that way, they are relating to the person from the stances that he is operating from. An inner stance is chosen and reinforced on a regular basis. Simply by living from the inner stance, inner stances can be empowering or disempowering. So, a straight line leader is masterful at dealing with their own and others' inner stances. Straight line leaders function with wisdom and power. Wisdom is being aware of the inner stance that you are operating out of in the moment. Power is the willingness and ability to shift inner stances at will. Shifting inner stances is done by choice and choice alone. Most people have multiple inner stances that they function from daily. Sometimes people are so familiar with the stances that they function from that they just assume the stances are who they are, rather than something they're either choose directly or choose out of agreement with someone or something else. They don't realize that they can re-choose or recreate their stance. when the current stance doesn't serve them. Some individuals can be very defensive about their stances because of how deeply they have confused stances for who they are. They trap themselves in disempowering stances by identifying with the stances themselves. They think in terms of DNA and permanent personalities. Choosing to operate as a straight line individual is choosing to drop your disempowering identity by shifting your inner stance. Until now, almost all of your stances have been unconsciously assumed. From this point on, you will be choosing them consciously. Conscious stances allow for freedom. You can always re-choose another stance to live your life from. When you are not pleased with the results that you are getting from your current stance, don't change it until you adopt the stance that gets you what you want. It's done just as a baseball player in a slump while work with his batting coach to change his stance. He'll move one foot back a bit, tip his knees more, square his shoulders differently, and soon he's hitting the ball again. The new stance was just what he needed. In the same way, the inner stance that you operate from in life will determine the actions that you will take and the results you get from those actions and unconscious stances become prisons, especially when you're unaware that you have identified yourself with the stance. Remember that your stance isn't you, it's just the stance you take. You can change it at any time. Distinctions are tools of vision, like microscopes and binoculars. They are being presented to you so you can see the stances you are operating from. Without seeing them, you can't change them. As Nathan L. Brandon says, you can't leave a place you've never been. I would add to that, neither can you change a stance you don't see. Distinctions give you an up close observation of the stances that you live your life from. They make these stances clear and visible. Distinctions give you the awareness you need to clear your way for the choice in the matter. For example, you might be living from a stance of overwhelmed. When you can see it, you can choose to shift to a stance of focused. Notice that both stances are created places to come from in life. See clearly that what I'm presenting is not positive thinking. You're not trying to paper over or cover up your negative beliefs with positive pep talks. Those pep talks tend to evaporate overnight. I'm not looking to sugarcoat anything. I'm asking you for a total change of who you are on the inside at the moment. At the deepest level, operate from chosen consciously lives and dictates intentionally generated will allow you to live your life with velocity and power. Or, if it's a dysfunctional stance, it can stop you dead in your tracks. We've all experienced the example of multiple people attending the same seminar with wildly varying results. Some people apply what they've learned immediately and have quantum leaps in productivity, while others return to the same unproductive lives they were living prior to the seminar. This is because of the inner stance they are operating from. No matter how workable the information is in a seminar, it won't work for a person whose inner stance is unconscious. Some knowledge only becomes useful when it is successfully applied. Knowing without doing only frustrates you and dilutes your strength. So it's never knowledge alone that gets you where you want to be. The inner stance that you operate from will determine how successful you are at taking on new knowledge and getting it successfully. Most people don't really pay much attention to the stances that they operate from in life. They simply focus on where they want to get to. This is a big mistake because the stance you operate from creates the reality of what is possible for you. So the stance you operate from literally becomes your life. It determines whether you will take the necessary required actions to get you where you want to go in life. Trying to get someplace in life is commonly referred to as having a goal. It sometimes appears as an even less powerful wish or hope. Most people don't realize how stances that they are operating from in life or where they are coming from impact the quality of life for themselves personally and professionally. Without intentionally or deliberately creating powerful inner stances to operate from, there tends to be a lot of wishing and hoping. Very little do not any the existence of disempowering inner stances in their lives or the lives of those that they lead. It boils down to this. Where you come from determines the actions that you take in life and the actions that you don't take in life. Your stances will always be the keys to the castle or your jail cell. Many times people have been operating out of such disempowering stances that they just dummy down and justify themselves and their actions with, that's just the way I am, or I was just born this way. This can be an extremely painful and soon they find themselves chronically complaining to live. They can't see that complaining is a poor substitute for being responsible for getting results. Examples of operating from disempowering stances are worrying, blaming others, trying, content with insight. Examples of operating from empowering stances are commitment, authenticity, growth choices, functioning from integrity. I refer to empowering stances as straight line positions because functioning out of straight line positions is a sure route to increasing velocity, power, and results in life. This type of coaching is designed to assist individuals to distinguish and come from individual operates out of non-productive or unworkable stances. Productivity and profitability always suffer. Self-esteem sinks to a new low. Circle and zigzag positions can usually be detected fairly easily by how individuals utilize language. Their language both creates and reflects how they normally function in life. And of course, individuals coming from a circle or zigzag position are almost always struggling with minimal results. So this type of coaching is that it inspires individuals to distinguish the various stances from which they are operating, being self-aware, with distinctions they can choose to keep or drop empowering or disempowering stances as they see fit. Clients make distinctions that free them from the unworkable stances that aid that that they are operating from in life, and then are in a position to choose stances that will allow them to take necessary action. Distinctions provide awareness, which is critical for change. You won't change something of which you are unaware of. So the inner stances that are distinguished here are the same ones that top executives, professionals, and successful national figures in sports and the arts are coached in on a regular basis to allow them to perform at such high levels. That is the end of the chapter. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this subject matter. Please comment below with any questions or any other input you would like to hear or see. And I hope this book brings you a new perspective, some great insights, and it will allow you to see yourself in a different new light and do your best to be more mindful of where your inner stance is, where you're coming from, your thoughts, your emotions, the moments. This is truly a simple, powerful, insightful book. I would definitely recommend it. And I'll give you a little a kick in the butt, as you say, especially in the new year. So we are in the first quarter of the year. I would like to ask you, what is the one thing that you will do? What will you work on? How will you change your perspective? your goals, etc. I would love to hear them. Jot it down in the comments section. If you listen till the end, please drop the Team Shine emoji star. And I appreciate you for stopping by and listening. I'll see you in the next video. Have a blessed, great day. Keep on shining.